All right, I sort of grabbed my camera here on Indian Trace. Grabbed a handful from a fantastic bin. I want to cover a little bit of the workmanship of these small Morrow Mountains uh, and talk about them in a second. But I just put them down in a pile. Just some great stuff here. I know with the way they're laid out, the sort of the focus and the sort of depth perception on this may not come in real well, but we're going to see some really great points here in the Morrow Mountains, and I want to show you just a couple thoughts with them and a couple things about the way they made these things. Just unbelievable. The reason I'm going to do that today at Back Pass, I found these two things. No, that's not the hammerstone from yesterday. I found a great Morrow Mountain, and that was at Site 5. Nice piece right here. So it sort of got me stirred up. And they make a lot of Morrow Mountains around here. I mean, this bin here with these pieces. And there's a lot of great pieces in here. I mean to tell you. But with this bin, what I could tell you about it is my top shelf. It comes from the top. Look at this. The way this pile is, that the focus doesn't seem to be doing me any justice. There we go. There we go. I'm sorry. I got to move slower probably because there's so many great points here. The Morrow Mountain point and the variations. And I want to show you how they make them. And I don't want to get too far ahead of myself here. I just want you to be able to join the hunt and what I do to collect artifacts here on Indian Trace. Of course, this Morrow Mountain got me thinking about it all today. One piece, but I did find also this Telltale. I couldn't leave it out there. Now I pick these up and I bring them in. Stellar hammerstones. Now I found so many that, and it's indented here on the backside again. But the edges are worked right off. So this afternoon here, a lot going on. The day after inauguration. Unbelievable. Now the reason I'm going to cover the Morrow Mountains, and I will say this first, is because there was an era, a time period where the North American Indians here were using this style. Because I've got them bigger, that's for sure. I've got them smaller. This is about the inch to maybe an inch and a half range. Unbelievable points. Look at this. That's a good shot of it. And there was an era happening here, a time period where they used these Morrow Mountains. We're going to take a look at them. Now this, I picked these up because I give them away. I've got a pile that have got to go somewhere. And I'm certainly not going to pay to send this kind of weight. This is 1 or 2 pounds. I would, if I could, and get them all out to you guys out there who are watching, because I appreciate your comments, all your comments. Read them all and answer back to you. But, for what it's worth, if you don't, seriously, if you're not dedicated to North American Indian artifacts, let alone Eastern region here in North Carolina, you're just going to get bored of these videos. You're going to get bored of me finding artifacts, because I'm certainly not going to give up. I'm going to put that aside, put this aside. Great little piece, no doubt about it. And we're going to go on to that top shelf stuff while if my light doesn't fail. It's giving me a problem here. So that was a good find today. Great point, right? All right, let's see here. Now, as I pull these out, and I'm just going to set them up, and we're just going to take a look at these things. Just incredible points. All Morrow Mountains. Now, what I could share today, just in light of everything going on in terms of political interest, sort of a reboot. And that's part of the political interest link that I'm going to put on there, which is a reboot of the inauguration. Definitely worth seeing from a lot of perspectives. Listening to the heart of people. And contrast, because there's a huge contrast that is happening now. I mean, yesterday's video I made, and that was before the inauguration even happened. And I had a lot of apprehensions, not about the inauguration at all, but about everything that's going to happen, safety and what have you. And I'm glad everything worked out well. Look at these pieces. Just to give you a lineup of Morrow Mountains and how they produce these things. Morrow Mountains is an older style. I mean, they're talking about, middle archaic. When you're looking at something 6,000 years old in Morrow Mountains, it's just crazy. And so, in terms of yesterday's video being before the inauguration, now everything's 100% different. I mean to tell you, it is good to feel well and hopeful about the nation. No doubt about it. So you see these points just coming in. Just great workmanship on these points. And you can look it up. Look up Morrow Mountain. You'll see these are quite an old style. Nothing close to the historic Indian. Nothing close to after Christ. These are all 4,000 years BC. Very easily. 3,000. Some possibly 4,000 BC. No doubt. So anyway, now, after the inauguration, the reboot video link that I have is worth it. It's only 5 minutes, but they just put together some great thoughts and some great contrasts of what has happened. And it's just been really great. And I really appreciate seeing that. As I said before, every single thing that I post, look at this unique piece, to me is a life changer. When I see it, it's good. I take it to heart, consider things, I go forward, and everybody will be working together. You know, one of the arguments that came in was, when was America supposedly great? Were you going to make it great again? And they want to rope you into the fact that any period you say, they're going to start to throw up facts about how America was never great and we should hate it from the beginning. Bottom line is, in any group of people, any land, any nation, horrible things are done to other human beings. It's unfortunate. And the development of nations and the security and securing nations, it's sad. But we have something here that is second to none. The world knows it. That's why they are resisting and coming against the European Union, which has never been anything but a bunch of elite, no government types that just think they can live and tell you exactly how to live. I'm not going to get into that today. But check out the reboot video. I mean, look at this, what we're getting. Talk about Morrow Mountains. All of them are. As I keep popping through them and not taking too much time, I'm just taking one out after another, just thinking about it. And I'm losing light by the minute. At the end of the day here, in the place that I have natural light in my bathroom here. And you can see all these things just lining up. Unbelievable. And you can see these are going to make a really stellar display. I mean, I'll have fun with it, that's for sure. Morrow Mountains, I just put that one in. Here's one that's a different color. Rhyolite, sort of a brownish rhyolite. Very unique point. So I'm going to tell you what, there's a lot of thankful people. The one good couple things about the reboot, the great thing about it is that, what was funny? Contrast, and you got to hear this if you've been listening. You have a final speech that was given by Obama, where he must have mentioned and talked about himself 40 times in the one speech. In an inauguration speech yesterday from Trump, he mentioned himself twice. And most of the time he was talking about you and me. He was talking about this nation. That's a unique point, isn't it? I'll put that right down here. And so that is a huge and awesome contrast for a true leader. And I know a lot of people, they're nitpicking and there's been a lot of protests. It's been just stupid stuff. We're getting there, aren't we? That is a bunch of Morrow Mountains out of one bin. And so I thought it just sort of tickled me. But that's how it's always been. Every single time. Well, I tell you what, I don't even have to talk about former President Obama anymore. So I'm going to decide as of this moment that that's it. Done with. But I am thankful for President Donald Trump. I am thankful not for him, but for what he represents. And he represents us, the people. That is a big deal. That is something I don't believe we should ever take for granted. Here's a piece I just brought out. How is the Morrow Mountain made, you know? That's a nice little point. Look at that point. One of the first ones I've ever found right there. So what do I hope in all this? And here's one of the biggest ones from that bin. What I hope is just as these Morrow Mountains from here, let's see if I put this one out here, if we can get it all in focus, represent an era here in eastern North Carolina, in my area. An era that these Indians were making Morrow Mountains and using them, and it just was a productive point. Give you a good look at these as we slowly fly over them. Representing an era. I'm hoping that in terms of this nation, and I know a lot of people are hoping, for a new era. An era where we're not ashamed. That God is the God of our nation, of our laws, of our Constitution, of how we treat other people, of how we decide we're going to deal with individuals or groups that decide they're going to cause us harm or try to cause us harm. That we would have a new era of pride, of respect. Some great points here. That's my hope. And I think it's been so many people's hope who actually went out and were a part of this and voted President Trump into office. So, from Indian Trace to you, that is a unique view. That is the Morrow Mountain Point. And I've featured them before, but this is just a little different today. A little bit on the afternoon side, a little bit of an easy, anticlimactic time. I guess I hope most of all that as the spring comes, we'd have many of us have a new era of finding points. And as usual, thanks for tuning in to Indian Trace. All I can say is I hope you find out there. And that right there, well, that's Indian Trace.